Welcome to Driving Businesses to Success with Google My Business. And this webinar is led by iSynergy, the team at iSynergy, Dan and Anthony joining us. So no further ado, gentlemen, I will hand it over to you. Please take it away.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. I guess I'll introduce myself real quick first here at iSynergy. Again, I'm Dan Reish. I handle a lot of SEO functions for our clients, as well as some paid advertising campaigns online and just different facets of optimizing their websites, content, writing and editing, all things to help our customers show up to their potential clients online. We thought that Google My Business was an interesting topic because, number one, as Jeff mentioned, it's free, so there's no reason you shouldn't be taking advantage of it. It's a pretty straightforward concept. It's relatively simple to take advantage of, but we found that a lot of people just are not aware of it. A lot of business owners, even if they are aware of it, they may not necessarily know exactly how to use it to their advantage or be familiar with the different functions and benefits that it can provide. And it is critical because I think everybody's well aware that Google dominates information on the internet. And if you want to make sure that you're getting in front of your potential customers, you need to use their tools. All right, so here's how we're going to break it down. We have basically 4 sections here. We're going to talk about, first and foremost, what is Google My Business? What is it made up of? What is really the concept behind it? Number 2, we're going to talk about the value, ways that businesses should be using it, and what the tangible benefits are that they're going to get from it. What does it actually do for them? Then Anthony's going to talk about the nuts and bolts, really, of verifying your business, claiming your listing, how you're going to create that account and fill out all your information, and then finally utilizing it, the things that you need to be doing to make sure that you're keeping it up to date. And he's going to get more into specifics on some of the tools within that console in the Google My Business account. Okay, so first of all, understanding what GMB is. The textbook definition, really, it's a free tool that businesses can use to manage their online presence across Google's various platforms. What I mean by that is both organic search results as well as Google Maps. You want to make sure that you are in control of what information your potential customers are seeing when they find your business in Google. You want to, first and foremost, ensure the accuracy of your business profile on Google. And really everything that we're talking about today, it's kind of comprised of 2 individual pieces. There's your business profile, which even if you've never heard of Google My Business, you've never gone online, you've never done anything to update your information, you probably have a business profile out there. And that's why it's so critical to make sure that you're the one in charge of that, so you can control what information customers are seeing. And it's also the foundation for local SEO. There's a lot of different components that go into SEO, search engine optimization. Local really should be a strong focus for a lot of companies. And I'm going to go into a little bit more what that means in the next slide. But you can really look at your business profile with Google as a billboard. If somebody told you you're going to have a billboard on the busiest highway in your area, and you have the option to either design that billboard yourself or let somebody else do it, I think most business owners would choose to design that themselves. And that's really what Google My Business does, is it allows you to take control of what information is out there. All right, so taking control of your online presence. This is some basic stuff that, again, may be out there already, but if you didn't put it there, somebody else may have, and it might not always be accurate. And that's a big key, especially when we talk a little bit more about local SEO and what that means for your business. So what are the main components there that you want to control? The NAP, obviously, name, address, phone number. You want to make sure that that is always accurate. You know, you have a phone number change, address change. You have to make sure that you're updating that information. You want customers to see the correct information. Hours, especially nowadays in the world of COVID-19, so much has changed with the way businesses operate. Businesses have cut back hours. Some are only open certain days. Some are only offering certain services. You want to spell out for your customers what the hours are that your business is offering particular services. The business description, that gives you a chance to describe in your own words, you know, what your business does. What's it all about? What does it offer? What are the benefits of doing business with you? And give your customers a strong impression of, you know, what your company mission is. Imagery and video, you're going to have the option to include photos of your products, your services, your staff, your storefront. And Anthony's going to get more into putting all these pieces into play later on. But those sorts of things can make a big, powerful impression with potential customers when they first find you. The information panel, that is essentially your business profile. The information panel is what's going to show up in conjunction with Google Maps. You know, when your listing shows up in Maps or the local map pack, which again, we're going to talk about in more detail here shortly. But that information panel is basically your billboard. That's what customers are seeing, and you want to make sure that that's what you want them to see. And at the bottom here, I've underlined accuracy and consistency is key. And that really relates to the local SEO aspect. For anybody who's not really familiar with what local SEO refers to, you want to make sure that your business is listed in as many places as possible, whether that's, you know, Google, Yelp, Bing, all the different directories online, your local chamber of commerce. There are literally hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of them that you should be going after. And when your information across all those different directories is listed accurately and consistently, that not only gives you more credibility in the customer's eyes, that gives you more credibility in Google's eyes. So your business and your business listing is going to be more likely to rank higher when Google is serving people search results. Because really, as much as Google changes over the years and as frustrating as some of their updates can be, they really do stay consistent with one key goal, and that is to give users a good experience. And by that, they want to serve users the most relevant results for the search that they're making in their search engine. Okay, so what sort of businesses are eligible to have a Google My Business account? You can obviously find these guidelines and rules within Google when you're setting up your account, but generally you have to be a business that's going to make in-person contact with customers during your stated business hours. You can be a brick and mortar destination. You don't necessarily have to be. You can offer mobile services to customers. There are some exceptions for places that do not necessarily make contact with customers, such as ATMs and parcel drop boxes, but you do need to have a phone number listed for that type of business so customers can get in contact with that business if needed. If you're strictly an online business, e-commerce, you don't have any in-person contact with customers, you're not eligible to have a Google My Business listing. There's still a lot of ways you can utilize Google, obviously, but not with the Google My Business account. You always want to make sure you're playing by the rules. You know, Google sets the rules, it's their game, and you got to play by them. Only the owner or the authorized representative of that business should claim and verify the business. The business owner or the authorized representative can give privileges to other people within the business or an outside agency to manage that listing, but it does need to be an authorized individual. The business name that you list within your Google My Business account needs to match your real world name. For example, our company name is iSynergy. Our Google My Business account is under iSynergy. And one of the reasons behind that is Google does not want businesses trying to artificially stuff keywords into their name to try to cheat the system a little bit and show up higher in searches. For example, we can't call ourselves iSynergy Canfield, Ohio local digital marketing company within our business account. It has to be your real world name. Google obviously doesn't want you providing any false or misleading information to your customers. They find out that kind of stuff definitely can impact your business with a suspension. And sometimes it can be tough to get your Google My Business account reactivated if they suspend you. And you want to make sure you're following all of their guidelines regarding content standards, not only things such as profanity, suggestive material, violent material, but just the quality of the material itself. A lot of misspellings and poorly written content can also lead to your account being suspended until it's improved. Here I've compiled a few stats just to kind of drive home the impact of how important Google is within the business world online. Even if you're not familiar with Google My Business specifically, I'm sure everybody is familiar with Google and the fact that they really dominate search results on the internet. So just kind of run through them real quick. First one, 35% of product searches start on Google. So that's a little mind-blowing to think about. I mean, that accounts for all product searches, online, offline. Anytime a consumer is going to start searching for a product that they probably want to buy, over a third of the time, that search is starting on Google. 34% of the quote-unquote near me searches done via desktop and tablets result in store visits. So again, over a third of the time that a customer types in the words near me, could be pizza near me, mechanic near me, t-shirt store near me, that is going to result in a store visit over a third of the time. 50% of the near me Google searches done via mobile result in a store visit. So obviously that makes sense. You think somebody's searching from their mobile device, they're probably more in a position to go ahead and head to the store that may have what they're looking for. And 60% of Google searches are done via mobile devices. So 5 years ago, that figure was only half, roughly half, 34%. So that just shows you how much the impact of mobile devices and the power of the searches on mobile devices is increasing. Google captures 95% of the mobile search engine market in the US. So that's a really impressive number. 95% of mobile searches are going through Google. Roughly a third of all mobile Google searches are related to location. So anytime somebody is searching something from their mobile device that is related to a location about a third of the time, which again means that they are probably looking to go purchase something. 42% of mobile-driven brand interactions involve Google search. So again, anytime somebody is interacting with a business or a company by their mobile device, almost half the time that's involving a Google search. And mobile users' interest in places that are currently open has tripled since 2015. Now that stat, I believe, is from a couple months ago, and I would be willing to bet that that has increased drastically over the last few months, like I mentioned a little bit ago. In the world of COVID-19, with restrictions on businesses, customers really want to know who's open and when they're open. Okay, moving on. So we've talked a little bit about what Google My Business actually is. Now we're going to get more into those benefits that it can offer your business. So first and foremost, raises your trust and credibility with customers. And not only customers, I probably should have included Google itself there too, because again, it's going to increase the credibility of your business listings so that it's getting served higher in the results that are coming back on Google. Why is it raising the trust and credibility? Well, we talked about the consistency of information, but also reviews. Again, Anthony is going to get more into the specific components of the account later on, but reviews and interacting with those reviews, engaging with your customers is critical to show credibility with your customers. And the imagery I mentioned already, your ability to display the imagery that you want customers to be affected by when they initially see your business can really create an important impression that may be the deciding factor on if they're going to do business with you or not. So improving your organic visibility, I mentioned that a little bit, but optimizing your Google My Business account and making sure your Google Business profile is 100% accurate is going to help you show up higher in just the organic search results when somebody searches for something in Google, as well as Google Maps too. Just recently, my family and I were staying in a cabin pretty much out in the middle of nowhere. And, we wanted to find somewhere local to eat, try some new place. And, I just go on Google Maps, just search the area around me, and I look for the restaurants, I look for the listings. And if I try to click on it in Google Maps and nothing comes up, they don't have a business profile, they don't have a Google My Business account, they haven't verified their business. It's pretty unlikely that they're really going to make the final cut, because I want to be able to get some information before we decide where we're going to go. And improving storefront traffic. If you are a brick and mortar location, optimizing this information can lead to up to 70% increase in location visits, as well as a 50% more likely to purchase. So that credibility goes a long way with customers and potentially interacting with your business.
Hey, Dan, I have a very good question coming in. Do you mind if we pause for a second?
No, not at all.
Yeah. So if you could speak to the role of images and loading images, and should there be a consistent amount of images added, or just a few stock photos of the, frontage of the building?
Yeah. I'll say anything is better than nothing. So I don't know that there's an optimal number. The more, the better, I would say. And once in the later sections of the webinar, Anthony's actually going to get into how to upload the videos and what that actually looks like within your account. So we will go into that in a little bit more detail.
Excellent. Great. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so the local pack, anybody that's not familiar with that, that is what's known as a search engine results page feature. There are several of them, like featured snippets you may see, where you're basically getting a snippet of content in the search results. The local pack is one of the most popular search engine results page features that displays to users. It's also known as the local 3-pack or the map pack. Years ago, it was a 7-pack. Google did reduce that to 3, mainly to make it more friendly for mobile results on mobile devices. And one other development too is they did add the potential for an ad to be served within the local 3-pack. So there could be the 3 organic local map listings like you see here. And there also, it's possible sometimes there could be an ad listing that shows on top of those 3. So in that case, you would get 4 results showing there. So again, this is going to display when a search shows local intent. And what we mean by that is, again, going back to the relevance that Google wants to provide its users. If their algorithm detects that the user wants to find something locally, it's going to serve them the local pack so they can see the local businesses that offer that service or product. For example, if a customer searches dog groomers, it's highly likely that they're looking for dog groomers that are nearby because they need to have their dog groomed. If that user is searching dog supplies or dog toys, that might not necessarily be the case, so the local pack might not show. But there are certain phrases that are used within the searches that Google detects as local intent, and that's when this is going to show up. As you can see, it shows alongside the map, and the more narrowly defined that intent is, the tighter that map is going to show. So if a customer searches hotels Ohio, then it's going to be a wide-ranging map showing hotels across the state of Ohio until you zoom in on that map. If that user searches hotels Northeast Ohio, then it's going to break that down, zoom in a little bit closer. And if that user searches hotels Youngstown, then obviously it's going to show just the Youngstown area. This local pack is served after the top ad spots on the results page. So typically you're going to see a couple ads at the top, then you're going to see the local pack, and then below that, you're going to see the organic results. And from here, you can click on any of these listings to see more information on that business. And here's what that looks like on a desktop. So here we've clicked on Giannino's Pizza, and here is the business profile that we've been talking about. This is the information that customers are going to see. And if you'll notice right in the center of the business profile, I highlighted there that question, own this business. That is a telltale sign that this particular location of Giannino's has not claimed their business profile and verified it with their Google My Business account. That could mean that the information in there is not necessarily accurate or as accurate as it should be. It's possible that it is, but again, as a business owner, you don't want to take the risk. You want to be 100% sure that you're in control of the information customers are seeing.
And, Dan, I agree. That's the number one thing I actually look at every time I Google a business. And I use it to determine the businesses, how they're embracing or how digitally savvy they are. And so if they haven't claimed that listing yet, there's a missed opportunity, obviously. And can someone else claim, a business listing? Say I wanted to claim Giannino's and I clicked on own this business. What would happen if I did that?
Well, you can try. It does go back to Google's rules with, making sure that you're an authorized representative of the business. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the ramifications for you individually would be if you tried to do that and you were not an authorized representative. But doing that does trigger certain things, the next steps that you have to do to verify ownership of that business profile. And again, that's something else that Anthony's going to talk more about, the step-by-step process, what that looks like when you're going through verifying the business.
Cool. No, that's good. Very good to know. That'll be really, so everyone stay tuned because there is a degree of security baked in, and I look forward to Anthony sharing that.
Yep. And just like you mentioned, that's something that you look for when you're looking at search results. A stat that I did not include in that previous slide is that verified businesses are roughly twice as likely to be perceived as reputable by potential customers. Okay, so what do the results look like in a mobile device? The search results are going to look very similar. Like I said, Google updated the local pack to include only 3 results from the previous 7 so that it's more friendly for mobile results. So the search results look pretty similar. Here's what the business profile looks like on a mobile device. As you can see, there are some additional options that you did not see in the desktop view. In the mobile view, you're going to have the option to call the business directly from that listing. You're going to be able to click on the directions button to get directions to that business. You have a prominent placement of your imagery right at the top there. Customers can scroll right through the various images you want to show of your business. And then if you scroll down in the profile, you'll be able to include featured items. If you're having a special menu item or a sale or things like that, those can also be included in the business profile that customers are seeing. Okay, and I'm going to wrap up my section here, just kind of trying to drive home the opportunity that is there. First thing Jeff mentioned is it's free. There's absolutely no reason that a business should not be taking advantage of Google My Business. You want to make sure that you are taking advantage of the potential to meet the customers where they are. And what we mean by that is the various places they're searching. You want to make sure that you are getting in front of them with accurate information and potentially higher in the results. And then down there, I've just included a couple of my favorite quotes from Sun Tzu, author of The Art of War. It should be mandatory reading for every business owner. Opportunities multiply as they are seized. So what that means is really you make your own luck in business most times. You want to look for opportunities, take them, and then more opportunities tend to follow. And strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory, and tactics without strategy is the noise before the defeat. So it's important to have a strategy. You want to have an overarching strategy for your business, your search, how you're showing up in front of customers, but you want to make sure you're using the right tactics within that strategy that are going to be the most effective to make sure that you are meeting your customers.
And now I'm going to be talking about how you go about creating your listing and what you can do afterwards. What are the lesser known features and what are some additional capabilities that you might not be aware of inside that platform. So creating your listing, going along with it being free, it's also incredibly easy to go about setting up your listing. So I'm going to walk you through that right now. So you're going to go on to business.google.com. And you want to make sure that you have certain information on hand. That way it's just an easier process for you as you're walking through it. So you're going to want your business name, your address. You're going to want pictures of your storefront, your team, your product. I would typically recommend you have 5 to 10 pictures to start. You can do one of your storefront, maybe 2 of your team or 1, and then I would make the rest products or your services. And then you're going to want your telephone number on there, and then also a link to your website if you have a website available. Like Dan said, you're going to want to make sure that this is accurate and consistent with all of your other listings online, with your website, exactly how you want it to be represented. So once you have all that information and you're on business.google.com, you're going to be taken to a home screen. It's going to have a search bar, and you're going to start typing in your name, and you're going to tell Google the exact name of your business, and then it's just going to walk you through individual steps of bits of that information that you have on hand. So location, contact number, a link to your website, service areas if you are a service that goes out to your customers. Those are the initial parts of that setup. And then once you get through that, you're going to be taken to this verification stage. Now, this verification stage is very important because your listing doesn't go live and you don't own that listing until you're verified. So how this works is Google mails a postcard directly to your business. And then you're going to put in your contact name on that so it knows what name to mail it to. And then there's typically a 5 business day waiting period for those. Sometimes it can be earlier, sometimes it can be later. It's just going to depend on how postage is in your area. But once you get that, you're going to go back to Google or business.google.com, and you're going to input that verification code that's on that postcard. And that's going to ring a trigger through Google, and it's going to make your listing live. And then after you're verified and set up in Google My Business, you next are going to be the finishing touches that you want to add there. So you're going to want to add operating hours, the services you provide, a description of your business so people can easily understand what you sell and who you serve it to. You're also going to want to add any additional pictures that you have, whether it's a logo, whether that's staff, property, or products and services. And then that's what that screen looks like right there for each of those. And then utilizing your listing. So you're going to be wanting to provide up-to-date information. That's one of the most important aspects of your Google My Business. It's not just a set it and forget it type of thing. It's a constant management so that your customers are informed. And then you're also going to want to enhance your business's online presence with lesser known features on the platform that I'll get into in a little bit. And then you're going to want to increase validity with reviews, as Dan mentioned earlier. And then we're going to be talking about how you view analytics and insights on your listing from the platform. So updating your listing. Providing up-to-date information is crucial for Google My Business. Correct info creates informed customers, and then incorrect, outdated info leads to confusion and a potential hit to your reputation online and your business as a whole. And I would say if you're going to update any aspects of your business, your biggest priority should be your operating hours and your products and services available, especially right now during COVID-19. It's very important that, you know, when customers are going onto Google and searching, you know, either your service or your actual business, that they're able to see accurate, up-to-date info on when you're open and what services you have available, whether if you're like a restaurant and you only offer curbside pickup right now. Yeah, it's important to have all that information at a glance because of how much people pay attention to your Google My Business listing.
So you're talking about daily level precision really matters, meaning to constantly manage your hours and the days you're open, because that happens quite a bit. People Google a restaurant, and if it's claimed to be open, especially during COVID-19, on their Google listing, but it's in reality, it's physically closed locally, you have an upset customer and a lost sale potentially.
Yes, correct. And I can't even begin to count the number of times that's happened to me where, you know,
Oh, yeah.
I go on to a business listing and then I go onto their Facebook and I see that the hours or the products and services listed don't match. So I have to end up either contacting that business or I just forget it altogether and just move on to the next business.
Right. You know, I'm sorry, I have to take a quick sidebar here, a tangent on Facebook. It's interesting how many businesses, you know, Facebook obviously has a business manager, but if you had to choose, do you spend more time keeping Google My Business updated and accurate or Facebook? I would argue Google all day, every day, and make sure that listing is tight and robust and dynamic and daily compared to Facebook. Any opinions there, Anthony?
I would agree, especially because Google My Business, if someone's searching for your business on Facebook, they're searching directly for your business. They're not likely searching for your service.
Great point.
But on Google My Business, there's a wider net of people searching for you, and not just for your brand, it's also searching for your services. So I'd say it's even more crucial there. I agree.
No, you're right. That's an awesome point. I mean, you're right. Facebook searches are branded searches. Yeah, you know the name of the company, Giannino's, and that's who I want. Who's eating there, or what have you. And, you know, Google searches can be branded, but a lot of times they're non-branded searches, meaning pizza, where to get pizza, and then all the stuff we discussed here previously. So those are great points. I think an extremely strong recommendation I'm getting out of your research and perspective and experience here is stay on top of your Google My Business listing and treat it as a real-time way to communicate with your customers, and always make sure that the information is precise, because people will, A, the trust factor goes up, as you guys already discussed, and B, it just leads to, more potential sales, more potential opportunities. Right.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And so updating, I'm going to be talking about just services and hours, just because those are I believe are two major priorities that business should be focusing on. So services, there's a left-hand panel on your Google My Business dashboard, and it straight says services. So the categories that you pick are based on what you sell. And then under that primary category, like I have here, there are also services. So you can add as many as you want. You can even set prices. If there's like a flat fee on delivery, you can also put it in there. As much information as you're able to provide your customers is as much as you should put. If you have drop-off points, for instance, or you're doing delivery right now, These are all things that you should be updating and making sure that your customers are aware of, especially right now when, things are constantly changing, especially with services provided from businesses. And then hours. Google makes it very easy for you to update your hours. When you click the info button on the left-hand panel, you're going to be taken to this screen, and the blue arrow is pointing to a pencil next to your hours. And from there, once you click that pencil, it's going to take you to this pop-up screen on the right-hand screenshot, and it's going to let you pick what hours you want for your business. And then you can also add additional hours under days, under specific days. So let's say your business operates from 1 to 2 p.m. But from 5 a.m. to 2 p.m., you also provide delivery hours or pickup hours. You can do that within Google My Business. So it's really powerful that you make use of updating your hours so that they're as accurate as possible for your business, especially when things are constantly changing. And then there are also additional features to GMB, lesser known features, some of them are. So posts, I don't see businesses use these enough. Posts are like updates, and I'll get into those in a second. Reviews, like Dan mentioned, is a big aspect to your Google My Business listing. It's a big ranking factor when Google is trying to rank your listing among other competitors. Insights, that's going to be the analytics and data that Google provides you for your business listing. And then there are also other lesser known features that most businesses probably aren't aware of that they can take advantage of in the platform, such as a website builder, messaging, and food ordering as well. A website builder, it's a very basic setup. We would recommend that you still have your own website on a dedicated server, but if you don't have a website, it's better than nothing. Messaging, it'll let you directly message with customers from an app. And then food ordering as well. Google provides a promoted platform for you to utilize for food ordering if you don't currently have a platform.
Right. So Anthony, I have 2 questions related here. Do you mind if we take a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. What do we do about fake reviews? If a business is spammed effectively by a fake review, is there a way to deal with that?
Yes. It's going to be a little hard. There's a little bit of a waiting process. You have to bring it up with Google, and then there's going to be back and forth with Google on that review. But you can also reply to that bad review as well. Try and show, the people at least looking at your listing know that you're responding to this negative feedback, at least in a way that is positive. And that's something else I'm going to get into once I start talking about reviews, but you should be responding to both good and bad reviews, even if they're spam, just so your customers are aware that you're involved with your business listing and that you're, providing feedback to your customers, and that they know that list or that review, isn't accurate.
Right. No, that's good. Good perspective there. And then how does a question on their business model, does Google charge a fee for hits on your business or orders placed? And if not, how do they make money?
I think we might have lost you for a second, Jeff. How do they make money off of like the food ordering? They like have a partner that they have for that service, and it's a special tier where you'll get like free service with that partner for up to a year, I believe, and then afterwards you'll pay like a prorated fee, and that's because Google's partnered with them. And then you can also have let's say that let's say you're partnered with ChowNow right now, like you have ordering through ChowNow. You can also have it connected to Chow Now also, or any other food service that you're partnered with, online ordering.
Okay. I'm sorry, I got disconnected and I cursed. So if that came through on the live stream, my apologies. But I'm
We didn't hear it over here.
okay, good. All right, carry on. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. All right, so moving on to posting. This is something I don't see a lot of businesses do often, but posting is just, I would consider it an extension of the standard updates for your business. It lets you provide more detail if there's something that you need to like get into more nitty gritty about. Like, let's say like you're offering a certain type of pickup hours or a certain type of pickup method. Like, let's say you want to convey to your customers where they need to go to pick up orders and stuff like that. You can utilize that in a post. And then you can also provide additional relevant updates about your business, such as any service or product changes, like I mentioned, as well as operating procedures, as well as setting up events and offers that customers can easily discover and engage with. So like you see on the screenshot on the right here, this post is talking about a cherry sale that's currently going on, or at least it was on February 3rd. And then you can directly link to them where they can go redeem that offer online on the website. So again, really powerful features and something that I don't see utilized often. And you're going to see these posts on the business information listing and in the information panel. And you're going to see that towards the lower half of it. And then going on to reviews now. So it's important to have reviews to help increase the reputation and awareness of your brand. And so 91% of consumers read reviews often, and I believe 84% of people trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. And then over 85% of all customers read anywhere from 2 to 10 reviews before they decide they can trust a business. And that number is just increasing in volume. So as time goes on, people are reading more and more reviews before they decide they can trust a business. And like I mentioned briefly a minute ago, it is a very important ranking factor for Google. It's the third largest consideration that Google takes into account when they're ranking your local listing against competitors. And it's not only the quantity of your reviews, but it's also the quality. So if they're descriptive, if they're truly helpful to the end user, the person that's looking at your listing, the better it's going to be for your listing and how it ranks. It can be a make or break moment for many people who see a business. And so how do you get reviews, right? You're going to want to ask your customers at the right moment. So let's say you're an e-commerce business. You're going to want to make it part of your transaction workflow. And you don't want it to be immediately after a sale takes place, because there's typically a waiting period between when someone orders and when someone receives that product. So you definitely would want to make it 7 to 10 days out of your transaction workflow. So let's say, someone purchases on the 1st, you don't want to make it until at least the 8th, because after 7 days, you can more reasonably assume that someone's received your product, they've gotten a chance to try it, and at that point, they can tell if they're satisfied enough with it to leave a review. And then in store, you're going to want to include reminders in packaging, bags, or pieces on your storefront, signage or anything like that. And then services, like if you have clients that you go out to, you're going to want to ask them in an email as part of your follow-up sequence after you've completed the service and after a certain period of time has passed. And it's all about just asking them nicely. 7 out of 10 people that get asked for a review are going to actually do it. If you really want to, you can incentivize them, but usually a gentle nudge is all people need. And then the next part of what I'm going to be talking about is insights. And insights is analytics and data that Google provides to you for your business listing. So you're going to be able to see metrics on post performance, listing performance, as well as what people searched for to see you. And so what metrics matter when you go into there? Well, Google makes it really easy to understand what each component is inside there when you dive into that insights. I wanted you to start off with 3 parts of that just as a starting point, and then as you feel more comfortable with the platform, you can start looking at other places. So queries used to find your business. That's actually the first thing that you're going to see when you click on that insights, and it provides detailed keyword info on what's driving your listings views. So if someone's searching for a service you're related to or a service you provide, like for us it's SEO and agency, people are going to see your listing through what services you provide, and that's very powerful because it lets you know how people are finding you. It's going to provide insight on what people are looking for when they're finding you, and that can help tailor your website if you have one. It can help tailor the SEO on there, and it can help tailor your content as well. And then where customers view your listing is the next one that I'm going to be talking about, and that's just going to let you know, out of everyone that's seeing your listing, what placement are they finding you in? Are they finding you in maps, or are they finding you in search? And I believe that's really powerful because it lets you know how people are interacting with your business or what they're doing as they're finding you. And then what actions they're taking on your listing. So site visits, website visits, directions, calls to your business, as well as messages. And that's really powerful because it lets you know what a customer typically does when they see you. And if they're going to your website, then you can dive in a little bit further and try and understand that better. If they're visiting your website, well, what are they doing when they visit my website? And then maybe it's time to take a look at Google Analytics to see what's going on once people go from your Google business listing over onto your website. Are they looking at your menu? Are they looking at the products you're selling? Are they looking at your services? Anything like that. And then directions, calls, messages, same thing. It'll get your brain thinking and give you a little more understanding on how your customers interact with you. And so that was everything that we had to talk about today. If there's any questions that anyone had, feel free to send them our way right now.
Okay, great. Anthony, that was fantastic. Dan, that was great. I especially enjoyed the quotes from Sun Tzu. So it's great to learn about maximizing your business potential and get into some philosophy as well. So it's always good to remember those things. We have a couple quick hitters here. How many times should you post on Google My Business?
I would typically go either once a week or as needed. As needed as in if you have constant changes to your business, then it might make more sense for you to more frequently update that. But I would say once a week is probably a good practice.
Okay. And then we have a couple industry-specific questions. Say I'm a manufacturer. Does it matter to have an updated Google My Business listing if I'm not serving retail traffic?
I would say yes. Again, going back to the initial point that you made, it's free and there's no reason not to. But also, somebody somewhere could be searching for your business at some point. Whether that's, if you're dealing directly with retail customers or not, it still is going to help build your online reputation, which is only going to help.
Yeah, I completely agree. In fact, in past lives, I've made deliveries, say to manufacturers in Lordstown. Say I was helping a friend drop off fasteners to a company, aluminum company in Lordstown, and truck drivers deliver every day, right? If you have trucks coming into your place of business, dropping off supplies or what have you, and you're an over-the-road trucker and you punch up a listing, you'd want to know everything there is to know about the place you're delivering to. So there's definitely a customer service element as well, even if you're not a retail business. So definitely critical for manufacturers to keep their GMB updated. And also to your point, it just always helps you maximize your digital potential in Google's eyes. So that's good. Another question: can messaging be connected, or is there just a Google My Business app?
There's just a Google My Business app. And then
Okay.
from that app, you can take messages as you receive them.
Okay. So that's probably a good idea to download that Google My Business app directly then.
Yeah, especially if you're the kind of business that is going to foster a lot of questions and interactions before somebody makes a decision. Yeah, it's only going to be helpful as long as you have the time to make sure that you are responding to the messages in a timely fashion. Yeah, it's only going to create more goodwill with your potential customers.
Okay. Here's an anonymous question, or a question from an anonymous attendee, and it's a very good question. Do people post fake positive reviews for their own benefit? So if I own a pizza shop and I post as if I'm someone else, ooh, the best pepperoni broccoli crust pizza ever. What can Google sniff that out if you're kind of seeding your own positive reviews?
Yes, they can, and it's definitely a factor that's gonna suspend you if you're caught doing it. I'm not sure the whole methodology and how Google understands that you're seeding fake positive reviews, but I'm sure there's a pattern that they can see and that their algorithm can tell that's able to sniff that out. And if you're caught, your listing's going to get suspended.
Right. Yeah, good advice. Yeah, Google's very tough. And if you get in their penalty box, it's impossible to get out, and it's really hard to connect with individual. I mean, it's impossible to connect with individual people. You always go into their giant, service portal, but you never can literally talk to an individual. At least I've never been able to get someone on the phone to resolve issues.
Right, especially right now, their phone service isn't even available right now, I believe. And
right.
The chat is limited, and really all you can really do is email them at this point.
Right. One more question, and then we will wrap it up. Does Google My Business listings, there are syndicators out there like Yext and Yelp. Does the GMB listing feed other aggregators, if you will, or do you have to manage a number of different business listing services?
It feeds into other aggregators, but there are other major aggregators that you should be looking into, like Yelp and Yext. So I would say you would want to focus your efforts on the primary aggregators, and then if you have time, focus on the ones that funnel down.
Okay, great. Well, we definitely appreciate Dan and Anthony. This has been awesome. Really great information here. We will absolutely repost this webinar in its entirety. And there are also many individual vignettes here that are of value. And so we do thank everyone for joining us today. Unless there are any other questions, we will conclude this webinar as we actually have another Facebook Live show coming up at noon called The Real Tea, and it's our focus on the real estate sector, and it's a live show with hosted by our own Abby Maslick. So to that end, Dan, Anthony, any parting thoughts or parting comments today?
Just keep up on your Google My Business listing and stay up to date so you have happy customers. Yep.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Even for sorry, go ahead.
No, the value is there. Yep.
Right. Things like I've claimed listings on behalf of the Canfield Swim Club. I was on the board there for a while. Canfield Baseball Club, I'm on the board there. Even volunteer organizations, if you have a physical presence, it's just a great idea to claim that listing and manage the listing. And it's a great service for your customers, for anyone that wants to know a little bit more about your business. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. And I do thank you so much. Really great information today. We will, anyone that wants additional information, please always just send us an email, reach out to iSynergy. Anthony and/or Dan, what's the best way to get a hold of you, please?
It's through email, anthony.cornejo@isynergy.io, and then.
And mine is dan.reash, REASH, @isynergy.io.
Okay. And we'll tag you guys up as we post this webinar. And this is something that people will be able to reference for months, if not longer, to come, because it's such great information and so important.
Yep.
Okay, well, we thank you so much for joining our webinar series today. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your day.